Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Johnny Beezer, and I am sick and tired of being bullied for my use of bad utility. You would think that after years of playing this game, I'd finally figure out how to use my gadgets properly, but that's not really the case. So, as a personal challenge, I've decided to go into the deep end of Rainbow Six Siege, and today we're going to be finding out if a game of R6 can be won solely through the use of gadgets. Now, let's get started. First things first, we're going to need a team, and because I wasn't planning on trying to convince a bunch of randoms to play by my rules, we're going to be asking some friends. For the first game, we had the dream team of Tot1, Copper Tips, Mr. Man, Raider of Stuff, and of course myself. A huge thanks especially to Mr. Raider of Stuff for recording this first game, by the way. He's a super chill streamer, and I highly recommend you check out his content afterwards. After that, we began queuing for a game of Quick Match, and it was now time to debrief everyone on the rules. To make things more interesting, I set up a series of different variants on the challenge, and for the first game the plan was to go completely gunless, with every other tool at our disposal being available. And by the time that we had finished discussing the rules, our match was loaded. For our first game, we landed on the beautiful shores of Coastline, ready to make our first few attacking rounds memorable. However, we were still challenging ourselves, and there certainly was an immediate discomfort in not being able to shoot out the outside cams. Even more so when we discovered that a very sneaky Doc was taking advantage of that through spawn peeking. Needless to say though, he was not expecting a frag grenade to the face.
Oh no.
Ha 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 ha, indeed, Tot1. However, the laughs would persist throughout this round when after the rest of the squad had died out, the maniacal Montaigne main Mr. Man was faced with a very serious 1v3.
Why don't you just drop your shield in melee?
He's gonna get bored.
20 seconds.
Alright. Sneak in quietly.
Alright, I'm ready.
Get ready? This one's going in the montage.
Oh yeah.
Oh.
Although I've yet to see that montage get released, I'll gladly link it in the description if it ever does. Okay, so the first round could have been a little bit better, but hey, don't count us out just yet. The next round would force the defenders to hold kitchen and pantry room. These foolish gamers wouldn't know what hit them, especially after a combination of being blinded, air jabbed, and smoked by Mr. Raider of Stuff and Copper Tips.
They lost! they got air trapped!
And that, ladies and gentlemen, would be the first decisive victory for the boys. And ideally, it wouldn't be the last either, with the next round changing us over to defense with the fortune of even holding one of the best sites in the game. This was our first time playing defense, so please excuse some of the picks.
You have a nitro cell still.
Well. Well.
That round was nothing short of a massacre, but props to the opposing team for all the long-range counterplay. Unfortunately though, that counterplay only meant that things were looking worse for the squad, with the game now being 1-2 and us having the pleasure of holding kitchen.
Oh god, we have to hold kitchen?
Okay, this is gonna be tricky.
Nonetheless, this was actually a really close round, especially after some stellar plays from my man Tot1.
Oh boy. Good luck.
This defuse.
Run for no balls.
Okay.
Oh my god.
It's not very gamer.
Oh, how are we gonna do this? No! Oh.
Well, that's a bit of a shame, but challenges like these aren't supposed to be won that easy anyways. We made a few changes to our roster, with Mr. Raider of Stuff needing to leave to go set up for a stream, and I invited on Hex503, a friend from school. Additionally, we decided to make some light adjustments to our game rules, with guns now only being usable during the prep phase of defense. The next game we queued up for landed us a game on House, which we actually thought would be our best chance to win.
This is probably the best
Hell,
map
let's
to do
go.
this on.
Kids room, kids.
This is like the one time I've ever been excited to play House.
Unfortunately, our opponent's use of utility and jackal tracking in the first round would say otherwise. We were probably going to need to make some changes to our strats to come out on top.
Please.
There we go.
Oh my god.
It worked.
But the game said otherwise, and we would find ourselves holding the same exact site next round, with the only difference this time being an excellent interrogation from Tot1.
Oh, interrogation.
Oh my.
Oh my.
Alright, nice.
detected if you remain in this area.
Oh, wait, no.
Spotted.
Oh, okay.
And this.
You know,
Things still could have ended better. And the third round really wouldn't be better either.
No, there's
You've been eliminated.
I'm sorry.
But hey, we stuck it through, and yet somehow upon entering our third game on Chalet, we would be more determined than ever to get that win. Now before anything else, I'd like to make a quick word on strategy, because even with our Second Amendment rights being horribly violated, a meta was slowly defining itself. First and foremost, the majority of our kills were knife kills, as it's one of the only gadgets that can theoretically be used infinitely and has ridiculous damage output. Because of this, angles and strategies were developed to give us the highest chance of landing as many knife kills as possible. Holding tight corners and making discrete rotations to flank the enemy would quickly shape the meta, alongside the proper use of a nitro cell or two. Alright, now let's hop back into the game. We started off on defense, and let's just say that our luck with sights was not great. The first round was nothing short of a massacre.
That's Matt. No, Matt. Johnny on you.
Oh, okay. Two words. Okay,
Oh,
yeah.
no.
So they're in bar. Not very tagged. And
Friendly, last operator.
Oh my
no.
god.
But things would change come round 2, where we'd be lucky enough to hold Garage and Snowmobile, one of the better sites. The opposing team would learn to fear Top 1's knife.
I'm behind 2 of them.
Nice.
Wait.
They're over there.
He's not turning around. He's not turning around.
We made it down to a 4v1, and even with us still being in the disadvantage, it appears that the opposing Maverick just couldn't take the stress.
Oh, he is on my. He's on garage door.
Oh, nice.
Okay, I'll take it.
what?
Round 3 found us 1-1, and the team and I were determined to make that lead even greater. We set up the perfect trophy room plan, but a single run out from their vigil basically shut all of that down. It was now up to Copper Tips and Top 1, whose post-plant strats were nothing less than perfect.
He dropped now.
Come in.
You,
Come on. Come
win.
on.
You just win the game.
Oh,
You good?
Kitchen.
Got him.
Nice.
Op 4 last operator standing.
Go, 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 go.
go.
He's like. Oh.
Robin,
guys are
Robin.
the best. You guys are the best players in the world. That's it.
What you wanna do?
Can't defuse.
No! Ah! Yay, we got it though. Guys, this might be the one we win.
We only have one more.
Round 4 was pretty forgettable.
I hear him.
Friendly.
I went for it.
Okay, I have faith.
No.
Nice try, nice try.
Bitch was just out.
And now we would find ourselves in round 5, match point. We had the worst sight, but at least we had the numbers advantage. And we actually learned something new this round as well.
Alright,
That
I'm gonna
means
use the funny
sacrificing.
shotgun.
The bailiff? Or does he have a shotgun?
He has an actual shotgun.
What?
Anyways, it was time for the round to start. And after some excellent frags by our teammates,
One's
Ash, stop the
outside.
stairs. How do you use his ability?
One.
Someone-
You are amazing.
by the 2-minute and 15-second mark, we had already put the game into a 5v1.
Right here.
There's one front door.
Nathan, we're not
Right here.
supposed to do
You got it, you got it, you
those.
got it, you got it. Let's go!
Okay,
Nice.
5v1.
How did that work?
Come on.
Things still ended up getting a little close nonetheless.
Blue stairs.
No, I didn't mean to.
Ooh.
Whoops.
Okay, 20
She has
seconds.
70
20
HP.
seconds.
Hi, Brandon.
She's peeking.
We're all allied.
library.
Left.
She's peeking library. You're right
10
door.
seconds left.
Oh, we win though.
Yes, someone trapped. No! No!
Oh, ooh,
Oh, crap.
Claps.
Let's go.
Oh, that was.
Oh
Why?
my god, oh my god.
You guys both just got
Hard
melted. I'm like, oh no.
The game says hard fine quotes, I feel like. Good work, boys.
So there you go! That's a game of Rainbow Six Siege won without the use of any gadgets. That challenge ended up being incredibly fun, and I highly encourage you guys to try it out with some of your friends. And as for this video, that took forever to make, so for the time being I'm gonna kick it back and relax. A huge thanks to all my friends and family, some of whose channels you can find in the description, for supporting me throughout the extent of this project, and while you're still here, you should consider subscribing. Peace out to all of you guys, and have yourself a wonderful day.